Hello and welcome. In this lecture, we will create the About page. This page is part of the publicly accessible content and is an example of a skeleton About page. As a reminder, in this course we are creating a web skeleton application with the entire infrastructure required for you to start selling your ideas quickly. Once you will complete the course, you will need to customize the layout as well as adding the actual selling content. If you want, it's a bit like a WordPress website. It gives you the capability to create websites, but you, as the ultimate user, need to add the content and the themes. In this course, I want to make this task easy for you. We will start by ensuring we are pointing at the develop branch. If you are not, you can check out the develop branch with the git command git checkout develop. Then, we create a new feature branch called about with the git commands git checkout -b about, git push -u origin about. We will start by making few changes to the navbar at the top of the page. We open the navbar.html file from the common folder under templates. We can remove the project name button as we won't need it. The home button performs exactly the same functionality. Then, we can localize the button names. As discussed in previous lectures, to do this, we need to add a timeleaf th text as an attribute to each anchor element and remove the current text. We can create a property called navbar home text and assign it the value home. Similarly, we can create a navbar about text and assign it the value about. We will leave the contact text for the next lecture when we will be creating the contact as form and introduce Spring Email so that the website can send us emails with users' feedback. Finally, we want to separate the navbar text properties from the index properties so as to keep our messages.properties file nice and tidy. Let's see the result of our changes by starting or restarting the application and pointing our browser to localhost 8080. If we look at the navbar now, we can see that it displays our changes correctly. Before creating the About page, we will need to create a Spring controller to handle the requests when users click on the About link. If we head back to the navbar and we look at the About anchor, we will notice that currently this points to #about. This means that when users click on the About link, they will be redirected to the home page. This is what the hash is about. We want the link to point to /about instead, so let's change it. Now, we need a Spring controller to handle the /about link. We will create a new controller and we'll call it copy controller. Pages that tell about the company, contain copyright and contact information are generally known as copy content, and that's why we are choosing this name. To create the copy controller, right-click on the web /controllers package, select New Class and name it Copy Controller. Then, annotate it with the controller annotation to tell Spring that this is a controller. Now, we need to add an About method, which returns the string copy /about. As a reminder, this is a view name. Spring will then resolve it to about.html and will look for this view under the folder templates /copy. Finally, we need to add the request mapping annotation to the About method and give it a value of /about. To get started with the About page, we can copy the index.html page under the copy folder and rename it about.html. Then, we can replace the container element with the text I'm pasting from the code I've prepared for this lecture. We will add the properties directly to the messages.properties file since there is quite some text to be displayed and to keep things nice and organized. For the copy h1 text property, we have entered the text who we are. For the copy plid property, we have entered the text we are a community of DevOps engineers who has the goal of helping organizations deliver business value faster through technology while having fun. I've also entered a comment to declare that this is the copy section. We can now test if the link works by restarting our application, pointing the browser at localhost 8080 and clicking on the About link. Great! Our About page works, although it doesn't have much content in it. Let's add some. The content we are about to add involves images, HTML code, localized properties, JavaScript, and jQuery code. Don't worry if you don't understand everything right now. It will become clearer as this lecture and the course progress. I'm now going to copy some images, properties, and some code that I've prepared for this lecture, and then I'll talk you through it. Please pause the video and follow exactly step by step. Let's start by copying some images. In order to do so, I need to create an images folder under the source main resources static folder. Then I'll paste the images from a location on my PC. I've attached the 3 images I'm using to the files for this lecture, so please pause the video, download the files to your PC and copy them to the images folder. Now we will copy the HTML code. This code is based on the Bootstrap carousel example, which you can find at the link shown in the video. As you will have probably noticed, there are 2 additional localized properties. The copy project lead intro property contains a bit of text about myself. The copy view details button property contains the button text. I'm now going to add these properties to the messages properties file. The HTML page is divided into 4 sections. The Jumbotron, which we have already seen, the marketing information, the featurettes, and the footer. In the marketing information, I'm showing some details about a potential theme. Yes, granted, I don't have much fantasy, so I've just repeated the same information 3 times. The point is that for a real website, you would change this information with your own. To benefit from the Bootstrap grid system, we have defined the marketing section in a Bootstrap container and a row, so we can use the call LG classes to space our columns easily. If we concentrate on a single div element, since all 3 are the same, we have an image with the Bootstrap image circle, which makes it appear as a circle. When clicked, users will be directed to my LinkedIn profile. We then have another div which shows the member title and some text about that member, which is toggled with the View Details button. The Featurettes section allows us to create some catchy selling content. Again, in a real web application, you would probably replace this content with your own. Finally, the Copyright shows copyright information at the bottom of the page. For this code to work, we need to add some custom CSS code to our styles.css file. Please feel free to pause the video and copy exactly what I'm going to paste now. I haven't created all this CSS code by myself, and that's the point. Often, in web design, we can reuse what great developers and experts have already done. This CSS code comes from the featured Bootstrap example. To get the CSS, I've inspected the source code and copied the relevant parts to our custom CSS file. Basically, we are adding the style for the marketing and featurette sections. What we should be doing is acknowledging the author contribution to our work via a CSS comment. We can add a comment that says courtesy of and then the link to the featurette Bootstrap example, like I've done in the CSS. Since I'm using a Venice blue gradient, I've also added a custom class named member title and set it to a whitish color so that the text project lead displays with a better contrast. The main point of attention in the CSS file is the one that declares the featurette classes pull left and pull right. You will notice that the margin left or margin right have been set accordingly so as to position the images correctly. Since images display inline, while technically they display as inline block, they will accommodate the H2 text either to their left or to the right, which gives to the featurettes the nice look we can see in the About page. If we restart the application now and click on the About link, we shall see the resulting page. There is still one feature missing, which is when we click on the View Details button, it should show a description of our theme. To do this, we need to write some custom JavaScript and jQuery code. We will start by creating a new custom JavaScript file. To do this, right-click on the static.js folder, create a new file and call it devopsbuddy.js, all in lowercase. Then, let's add the jQuery code to invoke a function only when the document is ready for processing. From the introductory lecture on JavaScript, you will remember that we can achieve this by entering the following JavaScript code: $document ready main. This function will wait until the DOM has been fully loaded and will then delegate the processing to the main method. Now, we need to create the main function. This is as easy as writing the following code: function main with brackets, and then curly braces. I'm now going to copy some jQuery code I've prepared for this lecture. Take your time to pause the video and copy exactly what's shown on the screen. This code performs the following functions. When a View Details button is pressed, it prevents the default button behavior, as we want our jQuery code to handle it. Then, it finds the closest collapse class within the collapse group class, and it toggles between showing the text and not showing it. So if we click on the button the first time, it will show the text. If we click on it again, it will collapse it, and so on. This shows the power of jQuery. Just few lines of code allow us to have a nice interactive feature. The last thing we need to do is to add our custom JavaScript file to the header.html file using the same format we have used for jQuery and Bootstrap. Make sure that you enter the script element for our custom JavaScript file after the entries for jQuery and Bootstrap. We can achieve this by copying the Bootstrap script element and replacing the current th source value with /js/devopsbuddy.js, all in lowercase. In this lecture, we have been going through a lot. Don't worry if you haven't understood everything in every single detail. If you go back to the code once this lecture completes and try to understand it bit by bit, you will realize that it's not that complicated. Try to look at it section by section. My suggestion is to start with the Jumbotron and understand why it displays the way it does. Then, move to the marketing section and try to understand one single div. Since we have repeated it 3 times, once you have understood one, you will have understood them all. Finally, analyze the featurette section and understand why it displays the way it does. If you understand one div, the other 2 are very similar. The only aspects that change are the image name and whether it's pulled to the left or to the right. The other part you really need to understand is the JavaScript code, which for the majority is jQuery code. It's important that you understand how we start a jQuery function. I cannot understate the importance of understanding the code and why it works that way. I can guarantee you that once you have achieved that, your professional baggage will be enriched, and you can surprise your colleagues with your newly acquired skills. Most importantly, it will make you a better developer. As a suggestion, try to change the images and text for the various team members by telling something about yourself and/or someone who works with you or a friend of yours. Practice makes perfect, and while I can show you the way to get things done, ultimately it's up to you to practice what I'm showing until you become proficient at it. Okay, time to wrap up. Now that we have a nice looking about page, we need first to push this code to the remote branch with the git commands git add star, git commit -m added the about page, and git push. Then we need to merge this code to the develop branch with the commands git checkout develop, git merge about, and finally git push. In this lecture, we have created an about page based on the Bootstrap carousel example. We have written some custom CSS code and created some custom JavaScript and jQuery code to provide the about page with some interactivity. As part of the about page, we have customized the navbar and created a new Spring controller to handle copy actions. Thank you for your time, and I see you in the next lecture.